to the WIHS Journal. On today's broadcast, we will learn all about the brand new facility, a big facility with lots of square footage and a lot of space. It's the Midwest Food Bank in Manchester, Connecticut. Stay tuned as we'll talk to one of the coordinators coming up, and you'll hear all about the mission that they do here in Connecticut. Well, today on the phone line, we have Corey Barrett, and he is the Community Relations Director and Manager of a new food bank that just opened up here in Connecticut, Midwest Food Bank, New England. And Corey, thank you so much for being with us on the broadcast today. I know that WIHS Radio kind of made a little visit down to you guys, and they were very impressed. So maybe start telling our listeners how you guys got in Connecticut.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank you for hosting this interview today. It's a wonderful chance to share about what we're doing and the partnerships that we, Lord willing, will find among the community here in Connecticut and beyond in New England especially. As a faith-based organization, our mission at our core, Midwest Food Banks, to share the love of Christ, to alleviate hunger and malnutrition locally and throughout the world, and provide disaster relief, all without discrimination. Okay, so that's us at our core. And we got to New England as the most recent division in an organization where there was actually a total of 10 domestically and 2 internationally. So we're the newest. We began operationally in Connecticut about 2 years ago. We just celebrated our 2-year open anniversary last November. And it began as an idea down in Florida, actually. So our founder, David Keyser, started asking some folks if they felt like this was a viable location for us to ever open a division up in the Northeast. Because if you look at the map of where we exist across the country, the Northeast really was an opportunity to have an impact. And so through some connections of folks that are already supporters of the organization, they started doing some studying as to whether or not there was food to be rescued. Was this a sustainable operation, both from a food standpoint, a people standpoint, were there volunteers here? And third, was this financially viable? And so that took some time several years back, and they came to realize that all 3 of those boxes could be checked. And so they started doing some research on locations, and eventually Central Connecticut was sort of settled upon. And they found this space that we're in now, which is formerly occupied by a couple other entities that, if you're from the area, would be familiar. And we opened our doors in November of 2020. I think it would have been 2021.
Awesome.
We've been giving away food since then.
And I looked on the website, and your place, from what I hear, is massive. The square footage is pretty big. It's primarily, who do you mainly take care of?
That's a great question, and I'm glad to be able to clarify, because when folks walk in, oftentimes they're expecting to walk into a food pantry. And a food pantry is really a location that's serving the local community in which it exists. As a food bank, you can think of us as the wholesaler to the retailers, right? So we're getting truckloads of food by the pallet, and we serve other agencies who are then taking that food back to the communities to serve the families and individuals who live there. So we serve about 150 agencies right now.
Wow.
In mostly Connecticut. We have a couple outside of our state, but it's predominantly in Connecticut right now where those agencies exist. And we're giving away, on average right now, about 900,000 pounds of food each month. And
wow.
That's given away completely for free every month. Last year we gave away in the neighborhood, I would say about 10 million pounds of surplus food. So all of that was done for free. And that really helps the agencies themselves who are working in their community stretch their dollars even further.
Absolutely. And so your mission, it is a Christian organization?
Correct. Yep, we're a faith-based Christian organization. We're not affiliated officially with any particular church, but that is a core part of what we believe is unique to us and what makes us tick.
That is awesome. So have you got a chance to minister your faith to anybody in this process?
Yeah, I mean, often we have folks, what's interesting is when you have 150 agencies, you have representatives of those agencies that come in, of course, and they might be coming in from anywhere from Northwest or Southwest Connecticut and everywhere in between to the Northeast part of the state and the Southeast part of the state. But we also have volunteers who come in who are looking for maybe a newfound purpose after retirement. But I can recall a couple of instances where we had an agency walk in and they were going through a tough time in their personal family situation. And one of our volunteers was able to offer prayer for that individual and express to them that we're not just here for a transaction of food, right? There's so much more to it than that, which is, I think, provides a noticeably different experience for folks when they come in. They've expressed that on multiple occasions. It is a place where we invite that sort of care, and we want folks to feel welcome at a deeper level than just you're here for food.
And I was on your website, which is very informative also. I see that you guys do disaster relief and hope packs and a whole bunch of other different things that you offer for the community. Let's talk a little bit about those areas.
The New England division is unique in that we are predominantly providing food for other nonprofit organizations. We're young enough still to not be set up for things like disaster relief or the ongoing program for hope packs. But some of our other divisions are participating and supporting these other initiatives. So, for instance, Tender Mercies is a proprietary food pack that is nutritionally designed with protein and nutrition for folks that might need something during an emergency situation. But most of that project is shipped internationally. The Hope Pack is a little bit different. That happens out of Illinois, and that works for volunteers to put together backpacks full of either school supplies, food, hygiene items for physical health, and we want to send them to school with whatever they need to be successful on a day-to-day basis. And we all realize that not everybody has the means to do that for themselves. So it's a way to fill the gap for many of those children in those areas.
If you are just tuning in right now to this broadcast, I am speaking to Corey Barrett. He is the Community Relations Manager of one of the biggest food banks now here in Connecticut. It's the Midwest Food Bank, New England, in Manchester, Connecticut. I just appreciate you being the hands and feet of Jesus to so many different outsources in Connecticut, just backpacks and helping so many needy families. Do you sense that families are struggling to put food on the table?
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, that's the stark reality, and it says we have 17% of the state's population is still considered food insecure. 17% of the state, and now Connecticut's largely considered one of the more affluent states in the country. So if you're thinking about that percentage, you've got about 380,000 Connecticut residents out there that are still considered food insecure. And of course, COVID, we will continue to reference COVID for many years to come probably, but that really affected a considerable number of people because you had people who lost work and gainful employment. You had benefits that came from the government to sort of fill the gap on a temporary basis, and then that went away, but people weren't necessarily immediately gainfully employed again. So there was a gap that needed to be filled, and that still hasn't been rectified fully yet. So we're looking at, across the board from agencies, an increase in the need for food assistance. And so, as we look to scale and add more agencies to our partnership base this year, we want to do that in a way that's purposeful and sustains that commitment that we've made to those agencies. So there's still work to be done.
Loved hearing all about your organization. Any details that you would like to convey before we close today's broadcast?
Well, one thing I didn't mention that's an incredible part of what we are at our core is we're a volunteer-driven organization. There's only 3 employees here at Midwest Food Bank New England. 3. It's a 55,000 square foot building.
Wow.
We give away nearly 1 million pounds of food each month. It's about $3 million worth of food. But that's all done through the efforts of volunteers. Everything from the loading of trucks and vehicles to the driving of vehicles, tractor-trailer trucks to retrieve loads of food. That's all done through volunteer work. So if there are people out there that know where we're located, are willing to come to us, and are looking for an opportunity to serve, we have opportunities each month to hand this food out to our agency partners who come into our building 1 week out of the month. And if you're interested, we'd love to hear from you being a part of that.
Once again on the broadcast with us was Corey Barrett, one of the managers and coordinators of the Midwest Food Bank in Manchester, Connecticut, a very large facility that ministers here in Connecticut, and they're always looking for volunteers. If you would like any more details about today's broadcast, you can give us a call here at WIHS. Our phone number is 860-346-1049. I'm Anissa Porticelli for News and Public Affairs.